Morning. Welcome to the Spiritualist Desert Church Sunday service. If you are joining us via Zoom, please be aware that we will keep your microphones muted throughout the duration of this service. I want to welcome everyone, all of those here via our wonderful internet, but also those who have joined us from the Spirit Side of Life to share in our fellowship this morning. My name is Jen Rawson. I am your chairperson today. I'm a board member of Spiritualist Desert Church, and I co-chair the pastoral committee, and I'm also an NSAC licentiate pastor. With me today will be Louise Barkdahl. She will be delivering our inspirational sermon this morning, and she will also be leading our guided meditation during the healing portion of our service. Lynn Collier is our Zoom moderator. And if we could at this time, please open our service with an invocation. Let us pray. Infinite intelligence, we direct our thoughts in this hour we are together, asking that your spirit permeate our souls with love, harmony, peace, and joy. We ask that our service be blessed with only the highest knowledge, and that it be given in accordance with our understanding, so we may continue to go forward and use spiritualism's teaching in our daily lives. Amen. Spiritualist Desert Church is a chartered member of the National Spiritualist Association of Churches, headquartered in Lilydale, New York. The NSAC manual provides us with the definitions of our religion, and I'd like to share those with you now. Spiritualism is the science, philosophy, and religion of continuous life based upon the demonstrated fact of communication by means of mediumship with those who live in the spirit world. Spiritualism is science because it investigates, analyzes, and classifies facts and manifestations demonstrated from the spirit side of life. Spiritualism is a philosophy because it studies the laws of nature, both on the seen and unseen sides of life, and bases its conclusions upon present observed facts. It accepts statements of observed facts of past ages and conclusions drawn therefrom, when sustained by reason and by results of observed facts of the present day. Spiritualism is a religion because it strives to understand and to comply with the physical, mental, and spiritual laws of nature, which are the laws of God. A spiritualist is one who believes, as the basis of his or her religion, in the communication between this and the spirit world by means of mediumship, and who endeavors to mold his or her character and conduct in accordance with the highest teaching derived from such communication. As spiritualists, we have no dogmas or creeds, but we do have 9 principles that we strive to live by. Please join me in declaring these principles now. We believe in infinite intelligence. We believe that the phenomena of nature, both physical and spiritual, are the expression of infinite intelligence. We affirm that a correct understanding of such expression and living in accordance therewith constitute true religion. We affirm that the existence and personal identity of the individual continue after the change called death. We affirm that communication with the soul called dead is a fact scientifically proven by the phenomena of spiritualism. We believe that the highest morality is contained in the golden rule, do unto others as you would have them do unto you. We affirm the moral responsibility of individuals and that we make our own happiness or unhappiness as we obey or disobey nature's physical and spiritual laws. We affirm that the doorway to reformation is never closed against any soul here or hereafter. We affirm that the precepts of prophecy and healing are divine attributes proven through mediumship. Wonderful. It's now my great pleasure to introduce our speaker for today, Louise Barkdahl. Louise Barkdahl is the secretary on our board of directors, and she is also a co-chair of the pastoral committee. If we could please extend our positive vibrations to Louise now as we listen to her inspirational sermon.
Thank you, Jen. I appreciate that very much. Good morning, everyone. I would like to welcome all those that have joined us today, virtually and from the world of spirit. Tomorrow, April 21st, is the anniversary of the birth of someone very important to the religion of spiritualism and to the National Spiritualist Association, which of course later was to become the National Spiritualist Association of Churches. I want to share with you some history of Cora Laudentia Veronica Scott Hatch Tappan Richmond. There is so much more to the little bit that I am able to share with you today that I encourage you to learn more about this spiritual treasure. The work that she did with spirit proved to so many learned people of the time that they have peers in the spirit world. In trance, she brought through fantastic details of so many varied subjects. The people in her audiences had no choice but to know that there were intelligences in the spirit world communicating with them. Cora L.V. Scott was born April 21st, 1840, near Cuba, New York, and was the daughter of David W. and Laudentia Butterfield Scott. Her father was an independent in religious views. He was a searcher for truth in all directions and was willing to receive it from any and all sources. Her mother was a truth seeker, and her religious opinions had been materially modified when Cora's wonderful mediumship was first discovered. Therefore, she was prepared to receive the teachings of the spirit world and made no opposition to the manifestation when they appeared in their home. The atmosphere of the Scott home was entirely free from the teachings of orthodoxy before spiritualism came to it. Therefore, Cora's mind had not been biased by dogmatic theology. The way had been prepared for her mediumship and the naturalness of its acceptance. Her father, David Scott, loved reading and kept up on the times. No easy feat considering how long it took for the printed word to get from one town or city to another. There were not even phones yet, let alone internet. He became interested in the Universalist religion. In the winter of 1851, he moved his family to the Hopedale Colony at Milford, Massachusetts, founded by the Reverend Aidan Ballou in 1841. Its teachings reflected our spiritualist teachings of today. The Reverend Ballou had a son, Aidan Augustus, who was 8 years older than Cora. She had been picking berries in the woods where he was walking when he stopped to speak with her. She had been scared and ran home, stating his eyes seemed to look right through her. She avoided him after that. No one knew that he would become an important part of her life. The colony was growing quickly, and Mr. Scott saw that there would soon not be enough living space. In the autumn of that same year, his family moved again, this time to Waterloo, Wisconsin, where he formed a branch of the Hopedale Colony. At this time, Cora was 11. The Hydesville rappings in the Fox Cottage had only happened 3 years prior. The Scott family had no interest in spiritualism. Its rapid growth had not attracted their attention. David Scott had attended a spiritual meeting while he was in Hopedale, but it did not impress him and was soon forgotten. Cora's first experience as a medium was when she fell asleep while riding for school. When she awoke, her slate had been written on, but it was not her handwriting. Her classmates told her it had not been them when she asked them about it. Children are very accepting and simply turned this into a game when it happened again. They wanted Cora to do their schoolwork for them when she slept. Cora's mother experienced this firsthand a few days later as Cora started writing messages from friends and family that had been in spirit for many years and Cora could not have known of. From writing, she developed to speaking the messages and began working from the platform. In this same year, 1851, Augustus Ballou was studying for the ministry in Boston when he passed to spirit. 4 days after his passing, he was taken to Wisconsin by a spirit guide to work with Cora. Augustus said, quote, I was requested by friends and relatives who were in spirit life to give my aid in developing her powers and shielding her from the throng of spirit influences that were so anxious to communicate that they perhaps might do her some injury, as they did not know much of the power of control. I was admonished, however, by spirits above me, that it was not in my power to alter the destiny of a human being, that I might avail myself of the organism for the facility of acquiring knowledge and imparting it, but I could not in any way alter her life course, for that was in higher hands than my own. End quote. Please note that that previous statement proves that we may accept the teachings of the spirit world. We should not constantly be under the influence of spirits, as some claim to be. We have the responsibility to make our own decisions as to how we develop and improve our lives, to listen and learn, then draw our own conclusions. During Cora's continued development with the assistance of Augustus, her family also developed their mediumship, her mother, aunts, and an uncle. The whole family was converted to spiritualism by her teachings. When the remarkable gifts of his daughter were demonstrated to Mr. Scott so conclusively, he wrote to Reverend Ballou that he had at last found something of, quote, good foundation, end quote, and that he would return to his former home at Cuba, New York, and devote his life to this new revelation. Over the next 4 years, Cora worked with a spirit German doctor who assisted her in remarkable cures. She was directed by spirit to quit school at the age of 12. She came to know Owena, one of her spirit helpers, who had been of the Shenandoah tribe. Spirit Augustus Ballou said that her work was greater than his, as she was far above him in the scale of progression. In 1853, when she was only 13, her beloved father passed away, and for a period of a year she was quite inactive, except for occasional appearances in Fredonia and Dunkirk, New York. Finally, she was invited to lecture exclusively in Buffalo, New York, which became one of the largest spiritualist centers per capita in the world. Here, she shared the platform with Thomas Gales Foster, one of the most gifted orators in spiritualism. In 1854, Professor J.J. Mapes of New York came to Buffalo to pursue his investigations of spiritual phenomena. He attended the morning circle and later was asked by Owena if he would speak at the afternoon meeting, to which he replied, "Yes, if you will control your medium and let me give the subject that she shall speak upon." He fell into the very trap that Owena desired, since it was the tests of tests that the spirits wanted to give him. The hall was packed. Cora took the platform, and after the choir had sung, came forward with her countenance so illuminated by the light of the Spirit that all beholders were struck with admiration. Professor Mapes spoke the 2 words, "primary rocks." After the lecture, the control called upon the professor to speak upon the same subject. He came to the platform and with tears in his eyes said, quote, "I am a college-educated man and have been all my life an investigator of scientific subjects and associated with scientific men. But I stand here this afternoon dumb before this young girl." End quote. By 1855, demands upon her time made it imperative that she leave Buffalo and go on tour. Finally, Horace H. Day, editor of the Christian Spiritualist, a popular periodical of the day, arranged for her to come to New York City. It was in the rooms of the Christian Spiritualist that she met Katie Fox and Emma Hardinge, who had a music conservatory in the same building. With Cora as her inspiration, she soon began her own brilliant career in spiritualism. Cora stayed in New York for more than 2 years. Meetings were held in Union Hall near Wall Street and attracted huge throngs of people. In her audiences were such people as Judge Edmonds, Horace Greeley, Professor Mapes, and Robert Hare. It was in this period of her life that Emma Hardinge Britten writes of Cora, quote, "She was a young country girl who at 15 years of age had been discovered by Professor Mapes of New York to be one of the finest trance mediums of the day. By aid of some other distinguished scientists, this young girl was introduced to the public of New York, where her wonderful trance addresses astonished and delighted all that heard them. Pretty soon, this young and beautiful girl being, of course, a highly susceptible psychological subject, was found by an old, crafty, and experienced magnetizer over 50 years old, and was coaxed into becoming his wife by promising to manage her affairs so that she could become wealthy. This man took her from place to place, charging exorbitant prices for the show, but keeping her so hard at work that the poor girl was frequently compelled to appear in public when she was fairly sinking with fatigue and illness." End quote. She could not have been more than 16 at this time. Dr. William Britten, later to become Emma's husband, was in a hotel reading room when he heard a female voice pleading for help. It was Cora, pleading for permission to stay the night and asking for protection from the brutal husband she had escaped from. Publicity arose, and many leading spiritualists insisted she be granted protection and that the husband be summoned to divorce court, and a divorce was granted instantly. Hatch tried to get revenge on the spiritualists. He had kept thousands of dollars that Cora had earned and used them to publish pamphlets that he sent all over the world to try and defame the phenomena of spiritualism. Cora went on to Baltimore, Maryland, where judges, lawyers, teachers, scientists, and also many naval officers were in attendance. They were not spiritualists, but they were forced to admit that they had no one who could cope with this young girl of 16. She parried their every question with intellectual brilliance, lecturing upon such subjects as astronomy, political science, religion, philosophy, history, and especially upon the burning question of slavery, with an intelligence which astounded leaders and teachers in such fields. She also visited Boston, Philadelphia, and other surrounding cities with great success. Around this same time, Cora became a published author. At 16, she had published a book of poems. At 18, she published her first book of class lectures and poems to go with them. She also wrote about the gyroscope, an almost unknown and certainly not easily understood principle of the mechanical world. Her second volume, published at 19, held a lecture titled Sciences and Their Philosophy. This book shows that spirit guides know all the sciences and the history of the Christian religion, ancient history, mental and moral philosophy. Around 1862, she met and became lifelong friends with Nettie Colburn Maynard. Nettie is the author of Was Abraham Lincoln a Spiritualist? Cora says that Nettie understated the facts in her book regarding the interviews that President Lincoln had with the spirit world through her. In 1871, her famous poem, Hesperia, was published. It is a book of 250 pages and speaks of many things to come, including the positive use of the Golden Rule. There is a lot more after this time, not shared with the public, including a marriage to a Mr. Tappan that many refuse to write about. Cora's time was filled with touring, lecturing, and writing, along with becoming the head of the largest spiritualist church in the world, in Chicago, the Church of the Soul, in 1875. She made a total of 3 trips to Britain, the first being in 1873. She was very successful there, too. Her last trip, in 1878, was actually a honeymoon. That is when she married William Richmond. He was a wonderful man and devoted himself to her. He was so interested in her work that he quit his own business so that he may assist her in hers. This included learning shorthand and printing so he could publish her weekly classes so that many could learn from her teachings. In 1892, Cora fulfilled a pledge and officiated at the funeral services for her dear friend, Nettie Maynard. In late September 1893, the first convention of the National Spiritualist Association was held in Chicago, Illinois, and Cora was elected as vice president at the age of 53. She held that office for 5 years. It is published that it was Cora's idea to start the NSA. She continued to give lectures at the conventions until the age of 75, her last one being held in New York in 1915. Cora passed to spirit on January 3rd, 1923, at the age of 83. Cora was America's most important and longest-standing medium of higher spiritualism, inspirational transmediumship. Together with H.D. Barrett as president and the editor of the Banner of Light, publishing all her weekly addresses, they set the standard for higher spiritualism, sending only good mediums to do missionary work demonstrations across America. Her sermons numbered well over 5,000. That's 70 full years of trance discourses. Her guides, while using Cora as an instrument, taught the world that not only does communication with our loved ones exist, but there is truly a whole world of people with so much knowledge to share, to help us learn scientifically, as well as guide us onto a wonderful philosophical path, that with their teachings and our choices on how to use that knowledge, we can live a phenomenal life forever. She knew and worked and served so many people in her time here on the earth plane. We know many of those names and how much they have done for spiritualism and by default for us as we reap those benefits. I also like to find the unexpected people in these stories too. When Cora was 16, she was asked by a member of her spirit circle to assist his brother Henry. It seems that his brother Henry was also very mediumistic and had in fact received an epic poem from the spirit world, but he was having trouble receiving the ending to the poem. Cora did assist him while in trance. Henry was able to complete the poem in time for publication later that same year, 1856. The poem, The Song of Hiawatha. The author, Henry Wadsworth Longfellow. I would like to close with this poem from this very famous author, who seems to be talking about spirit communication. The stranger at my fireside cannot see the forms I see, nor hear the sounds I hear. He but perceives what is, while unto me all that has been is visible and clear. The spirit world around this world of sense floats like an atmosphere, and everywhere wafts through these earthly mists and vapors dense, a vital breath of more ethereal air. So prone the world of spirits there descends, a bridge of light connecting it with this, or whose unsteady floor that sways and bends, wander our thoughts above the dark abyss. Thank you and God bless.
Thank you, Louise, for those very informative, the very informative message about one of our most important pioneers and founders of our religion of spiritualism. Traditionally, this point in our service would be the time for our love offering. We are continuing to accept donations by check to the address on your screen coming up. We do have in process PayPal option on our website. We'll let you know when that is available for you. But let us just thank you for all of your support of Spiritualist Desert Church. As you know, we are closed for the foreseeable future. We're not sure when we're going to be able to reopen for live services in person. However, our board of directors and the pastoral committee are available to you at any time. If you have need of food from our food pantry, if you'd like to talk with any one of us, or if you have questions, you can reach out to us at that message number up there, the email address, and also on our website is there as well. And if you're getting our newsletter, there are phone numbers on the back of that, on that second page. Now we're going to begin the healing portion of our service. And we would like to invite all of you to join us in a guided healing meditation led by Louise. And if you would first, please join me in praying the prayer for spiritualist healing. I ask the great unseen healing force to remove all obstructions from my mind and body and to restore me to perfect health. I ask this in all sincerity and honesty, and I will do my part. I ask this great unseen healing force to help both present and absent ones who are in need of help and to restore them to perfect health. I put my trust in the love and power of God. Amen. And now Louise will lead our guided meditation.
Thank you again, Jen. Everyone take a deep breath in and release. We're going to take just a short bit of time, relax, renew, refresh. Picture above your head a balloon, any sort of balloon that you like. Picture it above your head. Note the silver cord tied to the balloon and also tied comfortably yet firmly to your wrist. Our goal is to fill this balloon, and that will help us raise our consciousness and raise our vibration to a wonderful healing place where we can all connect together. So take another deep breath in. Let it go. Focus on your breathing. Every time you breathe in, you're going to fill that balloon a little bit more. Every time you exhale, you're letting go of the cares and the worries of the present day on this physical plane. Breathing in, filling the balloon. Breathing out, releasing the cares of the day. Releasing the worries, the negativities that weigh us down. Breathing in again and exhaling any dis-ease. Breathing it again, the balloon filling and filling. The balloon starts to rise, and we rise with it. Again, leaving behind the weights of the day, going toward a place where we will meet with Spirit. We will be in the presence of that wonderful healing energy. And as we reach out with our consciousness, we will also find each other. With each other, we know that there is an unlimited source of love, which is the most powerful feeling of everything. So reach out, connect with each other, connect with that divine spark that is within each of us, and reach out, tapping into that unlimited healing energy available to all of us. Feel it refreshing you, restoring you. This healing energy works on all levels, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and when we return to our bodies, it will carry through physically as well. One more deep breath, bringing all this consciousness together, feeling wonderful. Focus on your breathing again as we descend back to our physical bodies. Breathing in, again, every time we breathe in, feeling that refreshment. Breathing out, deflating that balloon a little bit each time, so that we gently descend back to our bodies. Again, this healing energy, renewing us, restoring us, refreshing us, physically, emotionally, mentally, and spiritually. Once you're reconnected fully with your body and realigned fully with your body, take a few moments to open your eyes, rotate your neck a little bit, and feel that rejuvenation given to us by that healing energy, by the divine spark, by God. Enjoy your day. God bless, and thank you, Spirit.
Thank you, Louise. I think everybody feels much better after that healing meditation. As we close our service today, we'd like to invite those who are joining us via Zoom to stay afterwards for a virtual fellowship. We will unmute everybody's microphones and we have a few minutes to say hello to one another and share in some time that we don't get to spend otherwise. Right now, we're going to pray our benediction and close our service. Infinite intelligence, we close this service with deepest gratitude for this day. May the philosophy of the continuity of life and communication with Spirit expand our horizons, bringing into view our sacred duty, first to self and then to all of humanity. Now may the beacon light of truth flash its rays and bless our pathways as we go forth this week. Amen. Thank you for joining us today at Spiritualist Desert Church. Please remember those who keep us safe and healthy during this crisis, our first responders, doctors, nurses, and so many others. Please include them in your prayers and meditations. And now, join us everyone for our virtual fellowship. Thank you.